for the first time in Riyadh, bringing professional and expert from around the world with diverse field to present the latest innovation and technology, discuss the industry challenge, introduce a new solution, and generate business opportunity between all participants. Before we get started, and on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my appreciation to all of our sponsors and speakers who help us make this event come together to become a success. Our first item in the agenda is a presentation from Mr. Sagar Salim, who is General Manager of Government Procurement and Expenditure and Project Efficiency Authority, talking about strategic procurement transition. Let us welcome Mr. Sagar Salim.
يعطيك العافية. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. صبحكم الله بالخير. معكم صقر سليم من هيئة كفاءة الإنفاق والمشروعات الحكومية. يسعدني ويشرفني اليوم نتكلم عن الشراء الاستراتيجي الحكومي الموحد. يمكن ابتداء أو انطلاقا من رؤية المملكة العربية السعودية وحرصها على تعزيز كفاءة الإنفاق، طبعا تأتي أهمية تعظيم الأثر مقابل الإنفاق الحكومي. أنشأت هيئة كفاءة الإنفاق والمشروعات الحكومية لمواصلة تحقيق كفاءة الإنفاق ودعم الجهات الحكومية في الإسهام في تحقيق كفاءة الإنفاق في الجهات الحكومية، الارتقاء بجودة المشروعات والأصول والمرافق وتخطيط البنية التحتية والبرامج والمبادرات، أيضا متابعة تنفيذ تلك الجهات للبرامج والمبادرات الخاصة بها لتحقيق المستهدفات الوطنية. طبعا تعمل الهيئة على تمكين الجهات الحكومية لتعظيم الأثر مقابل الإنفاق وتحقيق الأهداف الاستراتيجية من خلال عدد من وحدات الأعمال لتغطي جميع مراحل الإنفاق الحكومي، من بدء من تخطيط الإنفاق الحكومي وانتهاء بإدارة الأصول عن طريق 4 وحدات رئيسية: كفاءة تخطيط الإنفاق الحكومي، كفاءة وفعالية المشتريات الحكومية، كفاءة تخطيط مشاريع البنية التحتية، وأيضا كفاءة وإدارة الأصول والمرافق. طبعا يمكن الآن نعطي دورة شوي زمنية عن تطورات إكسبو التشريعية والتنظيمية خلال الأعوام. يمكن ابتداء من عام 2017 تم إطلاق مبادرات تحسين نظام المشتريات الحكومية في 2017. في عام 2019 تم في ديسمبر 2019 تم إطلاق نظام المنافسات والمشتريات الحكومية، وأيضا تحديد هيئة كفاءة الإنفاق كالجهة المختصة لشراء الموحد. في عام 2020 تم تحديث اللائحة التنفيذية لنظام المنافسات والمشتريات الحكومية. في عام 2021 تم إطلاق منصة سوق اعتماد الإلكتروني، وأيضا الفوز بجائزة سبس العالمية كأفضل برنامج تحول في المشتريات. في عامنا الحالي تم إطلاق 3 منصات رقمية، منها منصة الإركاب، المزاد الإلكتروني، وأيضا منصة العقود. طبعا يمكن الجهات المعنية في الشراء الاستراتيجي تهدف إلى استغلال القوة الشرائية، توطين الصناعة ودعم المحتوى المحلي، وتم تحديد 4 جهات رئيسية: هيئة المحتوى المحلي، وممكن نطلع على اللي هي برامج توطين الصناعة في منتجات الحماية الشخصية الطبية، في توطين السيارات الكهربائية، في توطين الحافلات الكهربائية، وأيضا الأنسولين. الجانب أو الذراع الطبي اللي هو المشتريات الطبية عن طريق نبكو، واللي تهتم في الشراء الاستراتيجي عن طريق إبرام اتفاقيات إطارية في شراء الأجهزة الطبية، في تخطيط الاحتياج من الأدوية والمستلزمات الطبية، وأيضا إطلاق الخدمات، منها خدمة وصفتي وأيضا خدمة شارك. يمكن نتكلم عن الذراع العسكري والمشتريات العسكرية. أيضا الهيئة العامة للصناعات العسكرية اللي هي قامي، طبعا توحيد المشتريات العسكرية على القطاع العسكري كاملا، وأيضا إبرام اتفاقيات إطارية اللي فيها الشراء الاستراتيجي مثل الملبوسات العسكرية. نجي للمشتريات الأخرى اللي تقوم بها هيئة كفاءة الإنفاق والمشروعات الحكومية على عدة فئات ومجالات، منها الرعاية الصحية، السلع والخدمات، الصيانة والتشغيل، الضيافة والسفر، وأيضا التقنية. الهدف من هنا توجه الحكومي إلى الشراء الاستراتيجي على عدة أذرعة عسكرية، طبية، وشراء أخرى، وأيضا جهة معنية في توطين الصناعة ورفع المحتوى المحلي. يمكن الآن بس نتكلم على وحدة أعمال المشتريات الحكومية وأهدافها. يمكن في 3 أهداف رئيسية. أولها تعظيم الأثر المالي مقابل الإنفاق في المشتريات الحكومية. الهدف الثاني رفع كفاءة وفاعلية عمليات المشتريات الحكومية من خلال خفض دورة حياة المشتريات وتقليل خفض نسب إلغاء المنافسات، وأيضا التوسع في الشراء الاستراتيجي من خلال إبرام الاتفاقيات الإطارية. يمكن هنا نتكلم على بداية الاتفاقيات الإطارية والعمل مع شركاء النجاح على التوسع في الشراء الاستراتيجي، مما ساهم في إبرام 8 اتفاقيات إطارية في ابتداء من 2020 في بناء الاستراتيجيات والفئات الإنفاق المشتركة بين الجهات الحكومية. ثم في عام 2021 بدأ في إطلاق سوق اعتماد الإلكتروني وربط بنود ميزانيات الجهات الحكومية في الاتفاقيات، وأبرمنا 8 اتفاقيات إطارية: المستلزمات المكتبية، تقنية المعلومات، التأمين الطبي، الوقود، العمالة، وأيضا صيانة الأجهزة الطبية مع 3 شركات الرائدة GE سيمنز فيليبس. في عامنا الحالي توسعنا في الاتفاقيات الإطارية، الهدف نوصل إن شاء الله إلى 12 اتفاقية إطارية على نهاية العام، وإن شاء الله يوجد لدينا خطط توسعية في الفئات الاستراتيجية للأعوام القادمة. طبعا بعد ما نبدأ نفعل الاتفاقية الإطارية يتم تفعيلها عن طريق سوق اعتماد الإلكتروني. سوق اعتماد الإلكتروني هو خدمة واحدة من منصات منتجات اعتماد تتيح للجهات الحكومية الاطلاع على منتجات وخدمات الاتفاقيات الإطارية والشراء أونلاين مباشرة عن طريق الموقع. فيكون الجهة الحكومية تدخل تشوف إيش المنتجات والخدمات الموجودة في السوق وتحطها في سلة تسوق، ثم ترفع طلب أونلاين للمورد، يتم قبول الطلب، يتم تسليم فوترة ودفع المستحقات كلها عن طريق الأونلاين. يمكن بس نعطي نبذة بسيطة عن سوق اعتماد في هذا الفيديو.
سوق اعتماد هو أحد أبرز الخدمات التي أطلقتها المنصة، حيث تهدف الخدمة إلى تسهيل إجراءات المشتريات الحكومية وزيادة كفاءة الإنفاق، وذلك عبر حل تقني يتم من خلاله تعزيز أداء المشتريات الحكومية مع الموردين، حيث تمكن الخدمة الجهات الحكومية من الوصول إلى المنتجات والخدمات الخاصة بالموردين المسجلين في المنصة والاستفادة من الخدمة بناء على الاتفاقات الإطارية المبرمة لتسريع أوامر الشراء للخدمات والمنتجات الجاهزة، لتختصر بذلك عملية التوريد وتختصر مهمة ممثل المشتريات حسب الميزانية المرصودة للجهة. سوق اعتماد.
طيب لو يمكن هذه شريحة حتحصر ايش مواطن التحسين في الشراء الاستراتيجي. اخذنا احنا مثال واحد من الاتفاقيات الإطارية اللي ابرمناها اللي هي تقنية المعلومات. ايش مواطن التحسين؟ هي على 4 عناصر رئيسية: طول المدة من الطرح الى الترسية، تفاوت الاسعار بين الجهات لنفس المنتج، ايضا اختلاف المواصفات الفنية، أخيراً طول المدة لتسليم المنتجات. ممكن نشوف إحنا هنا مراحل الترسية، مراحل المنافسة في الطريقة التقليدية اللي هي تبدأ من إعداد الكراسة، الطرح، استلام وفتح العروض، تقييم فني، تقييم مالي، التأهيل اللاحق، ترسية مبدئية، نهائية، توقيع العقد. هذه تأخذ ونافرد في الجهات الحكومية 142 يوم عمل من الطرح إلى الترسية. عن طريق الاتفاقيات الإطارية وسوق اعتماد الإلكتروني الآن جميعها تكون متوفرة في السوق على مدار العام في أسعار ثابتة، في شروط وأحكام ثابتة ومدة زمنية محددة، تكون عن طريق طلب رد المورد التعميد. فتم خفض متوسط المدة من الطرح للترسية من 142 يوم إلى 12 يوم. أيضا مع التحسين المستمر للاتفاقيات الإطارية وسوق اعتماد، حسنا تجربة العميل وتسريع خدمة وصول المستفيدين إلى أكثر من 75%. يمكن في أول رسم بياني نقدر نشوف المتوسط المدة الشهري من إنشاء أمر الشراء طلب الشراء حتى اعتماد أمر الشراء في عام 2021 متوسط شهري كان 185 يوم. حاليا المتوسط الشهري خلال 5 أيام من BR to BO اللي هو متطلب إلى الاعتماد. المتوسط المدة السنوي حاليا يصل إلى 12 يوم عمل، وللحم تم إنهاء أكثر من 200 أمر شراء ل 200 جهة حكومية في أقل من يوم. أيضا تعميد 800 طلب شراء خلال يوم واحد عن طريق السوق. في الرسم البياني الثاني نتكلم على متوسط المدة الشهرية من التعميد وإصدار أمر الشراء للمورد إلى تسليم المنتجات وإشعار الجهات الحكومية بوصول المنتج أو الخدمة. في بداية انطلاقنا في 2021 كان المتوسط الشهري 76 يوم. حاليا احنا المتوسط الشهري لدينا 7 أيام. المتوسط السنوي تقريبا 27، وإن شاء الله نطمح إلى نصل إلى أقل منه على الأعوام القادمة. أكثر من 1000 أمر شراء تم تسليمه خلال 14 يوم. الرسم البياني الأخير اللي هو المتوسط المدة الشهرية من رفع الفاتورة وحتى اعتمادها، لأنه واحد من أهداف والمواطن التحسين في الشراء الاستراتيجي الموردين ودفع المستحقات المالية مباشرة أو في وقت قياسي لهم. في بداية انطلاقنا كانت تقريبا المتوسط الشهري لنا 168 يوم من اعتماد الفاتورة حتى رفعها إلى اعتمادها. حاليا خلال 3 أيام من رفع الفاتورة يتم اعتمادها من قبل الجهات الحكومية. أيضا لدينا أكثر من 500 مطالبة مالية رفعت وتم إنشائها من قبل المتعاقدين، وتم الانتهاء من إجراءاتها خلال 7 أيام عمل من إنشاء مطالبة إلى دفع المستحقات المالية للمتعاقدين. يمكن أيضا بتغذية سوق اعتماد والتوسع في الشراء الاستراتيجي قدرنا أن نتوافق مع إيش احتياج الجهات الحكومية مع مضاعفة عدد المستخدمين لها والمنتجات المطلوبة. ففي الرسم البياني الأول نقدر نشوف عدد الجهات الحكومية الطالبة بداية من 2021. أول سنة كان عندنا تقريبا 43 جهة حكومية في استخدام السوق اعتماد الإلكتروني. حاليا احنا وصلنا 493 جهة حكومية تستخدم منصة سوق اعتماد على 8 اتفاقيات عليها. أيضا وضعنا خطط شهرية لورش العمل للقطاع الخاص والقطاع العام لمعرفة كيفية استخدام وتسهيل إجراءات السوق والشراء عن طريقه. أيضا ممكن نشوف اللي هو تعداد المنتجات اللي تم تسليمها. في 21 تقريبا سلمنا 53 ألف منتج. اليوم احنا نتكلم على تقريبا 80 مليون منتج وخدمة تم توصيلها وطلبها عن طريق سوق اعتماد الإلكتروني. أكثر من 1.5 مليون منتج تم توصيله خلال مدة لا تتجاوز 14 يوم. طبعا ان شاء الله احنا يمكن في الهيئه ومع شركاء النجاح نطمح ان نكون رواد العالم في الشراء الاستراتيجي. يمكن وصلنا الى نهايه عرضنا، نتمنى ان حاز اعجابكم وفي استفسارات ان شاء الله.
طيب. Thank you, Mr. Sagar. While before moving to the next presentation, there is a live show, so you could access it through YouTube channel. Just mention Saudi Procurement Conference 2022. Thank you, Mr. Sagar. Now we will move to the next item in the agenda. Is a presentation from Mr. Ali Al-Sum'a, who is the CEO at the National Industrial and Mining Information Center, talking about the importance of product and services, national codification for supply chain support. Let us welcome Mr. Ali Al-Sum'a.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. الحقيقة الشكر للمنظمين على هذه الفعالية الهامة والدعوة للمشاركة معكم. حديث اليوم راح يكون عن أهمية الفهرسة والترميز على المستوى الوطني للمنتجات والخدمات لدعم سلاسل الإمداد على الناشونال ليفل. باختصار شديد جدا كمقدمة للعرض التفصيلي راح أتكلم عنه. نتحدث اليوم على أي منتج أو خدمة ابتداء من التصنيع إلى الاستهلاك يمر بعدة محطات بين جهات العرض وجهات الطلب والجهات الوسيطة اللي بين المصنع وبين المستهلك النهائي. فإذا ما في لغة مشتركة ما بين جميع الأطراف اللي لهم علاقة بسلسلة الإمداد، من مصانع، من موردين، من جمارك، من نقل، من تخزين، من تجار جملة، تجار تجزئة، إلى المستهلك النهائي، جميع الأطراف اللي هم علاقة برحلة المنتج يتحدثون لغات مشتركة، لغات مختلفة عفواً. كلاً يرمز أو يفهرس المنتج أو الخدمة بلغته الخاصة. فبالتالي تأتي على المستوى الوطني تعرف المملكة العربية السعودية كما استهلكت من منتج X ولا Y، تجد في صعوبة في aggregating الداتا، انك تحسب السبلاي والديماند. تجد انه في صعوبة انك تعرف ايش المنتج اللي قابل للتوطين الغير قابل للتوطين، انه مثلا المنتج اللي عليه مثلا منافسة غير عادلة او المنتج المطابق للشروط والمواصفات او غير مطابق للشروط والمواصفات الفنية أو شروط استعراضات الجودة. لماذا؟ لأنه ما في لغة مشتركة بين جميع الأطراف المتعاملين، وتلاقي أنه كل شركة أو منظمة أو جهة حكومية تبذل جهود ضخمة جدا للكتالوجينج والستاندرايزيشن within the organization. يعني تلاقي مثلا في big efforts في أرامكو، في سابك، في معادن، في شركة كهرباء، لكن سايلوز، كل واحد شغال لحاله بجهود بعشرات السنوات. بعضهم يمضي تو كتالوج الايتمز اللي عنده، كتالوج السبلايرز اللي عنده. وتلاقي مثلا بعض المصانع او يكون عنده ازمه انه يحتاج قطعه غيار معينه وينتظر يستوردها من خارج المملكه، وما يدري انه اللي جنبه جاره موجوده عنده في الستوك وما يحتاجها، يعني ممكن يتبادلها معه. لماذا؟ لانه ما في لغه مشتركه. فاحنا اليوم راح نشوف كيف ممكن نصنع لغه مشتركه للمنتجات والخدمات على المستوى الوطني، بحيث انه نتبادل نفس المعلومات وبالتالي يكون عندنا نفس اللغه، فبالتالي نقدر نعرف تفاصيل منتجاتنا اللي في المملكه سواء اللي تورد او اللي تصنع، ونعرف اللي قابل منها للتوطين، المطابق منها للشروط والمواصفات، ونطلع بمنافع كثيره اخرى. فهذا خلاصه الحديث اللي راح اتكلم عنه، وراح نشوف وين وصلنا في هالموضوع. حديثي راح اتكلم على المركز الوطني للمعلومات الصناعيه والتعدينيه، خدمات المركز واعماله. بعد كده راح اتكلم على نظام الترميز المتبع لدينا في المركز، وختاما راح اتكلم عن السجل الوطني للمنتجات برودكت ناشونال ريجستري. المركز الوطني يعني مستهدفاته انه يكون سنجل سورس اوف تروث، مركز المعرفه لاي شيء له علاقه بالصناعه والتعدين على المستوى الوطني. اليوم المركز يجمع معلومات الصناعة والتعدين من جميع الأطراف المتعاملة، سواء من القطاع الحكومي ولا من القطاع الخاص. لدينا يمكن ما يقارب 11,000 مصنع وما يقارب 2000 منشأة تعدينية، وكذلك ما يقارب 33 جهة حكومية لهم علاقة بقطاع الصناعة والتعدين. الجميع يكونتريبيوت لمرصد صناعي وتعديني، وبعده نطلع منه على قولتهم ديتا، ثم انفورميشن، ثم knowledge ثم intelligence ثم wisdom، وعلى ظهره نطلع منتجات معرفية digital and analytics products that serve الكوميونيتي وسيرف متخذ القرار الحكومي أو متخذ القرار في القطاع الخاص أو في الأكاديمية والنن government organization. فرؤية المركز أن يكون مركز المعرفة الصناعية والتعديلية الموثوق به في المملكة لتعزيز التوجه نحو منظومة صناعية وتعديلية متكاملة ومنافسة. الهدف مرة أخرى أنه full transparency على قطاع الصناعة والتعدين، market intelligence بالكامل لخدمة متخذي القرار في القطاع الحكومي والقطاع الخاص. الخدمات الرئيسية في المركز أنه خدمات الفهرسة والترميز، الكاتالوجينج للبرودكت والسيرفيسز، خدمات البيانات الخدمات الرقمية المبتكرة digital product that serve قطاع الصناعة والتعدين وتساعده في التحول الرقمي، النشرات والتقارير والدراسات والأبحاث، وتقديم الخدمات الاستشارية على حس الديتا الموجودة. وزي ما يقولوا the data is the new oil، فاللي عنده الديتا يقدر يعطي فاليو للناس. وكذلك أنشطة نشر الأنشطة المعرفية، conferences ويبنار سيمينارز هاكاثون ماراثون وات ايفر لألق الانوفيشن في القطاع الصناعة والتعدين. وخلاصة الكلام إنه if you want to go smart go digital and analytics، وهذا تقريبا الثيم اليوم في كل شيء. تبغى تصير سمارت في خدماتك الحكومية then you go digital government. You want smart banking services go digital and analytics. في أي مجال نفس الشيء في سلسلة الإمداد. if you wanted to go smart في الانفنتوري في البروكيورمنت في الهاندلنج في البيرتشيز then you need to go digital and go analytics and see where you can optimize and زي ما يقولوا تحقق أهدافك. الأوفر اركتشر للمركز كيف يشتغل؟ زي ما قلنا المركز في النص، وقطاع الحكومي على يمينه وقطاع الخاص على يساره، وقطاع الصناعة والتعدين يتلقى ديتا من جميع الجهات ويطلع منتجات معلوماتية، منتجات تحليلية، بحثية، استشارية، معرفية that serve الكوميونيتي. كثير من البرودكتس اللي موجودة حاليا، منصة الترميز كوديفيكيشن بلاتفورمز تم إطلاقها والآن تستخدم من قبل المصانع وسبلايرز لترميز منتجاتهم. منصة المسح الصناعي، منصة اللي يكولكت الديتا من المصانع بشكل شهري عشان نعرف الإنتاج الفعلي لكل خط إنتاج في المملكة. منصة طلب التأهيل للمكاتب، المكاتب اللي ناوية وحابة تدخل معنا في موضوع الكاتالوجينج والترميز ممكن تتقدم لطلب التأهيل من خلال المنصة. منصة صناعي اللي هي رحلة المستثمر الصناعي، الخدمات اللي يقدمها الجهات الحكومية للمصانع، وأيضا خدمات طلب المعلومات لأي قطاع خاص، أكاديمية، استشارات يحتاجون معلومات عن الصناعة والتعدين ممكن يسووا ريكوست على المنصة. وفي بعض الأدلة، دليل المنتجات، لو حابب تعرف منتج معين مين يصنعه، ما هي المصانع اللي تصنع وإيش طاقتها الاستيعابية، موجود على الموقع كذلك الدليل. ودليل المصانع اللي حاب يتعرف على المصانع سواء في الفود اندستري، بتروكيميكالز، في أي اندستري معين، في مدينة معينة، في منطقة معينة، يقدر يستعلم عن الأدلة هذه من خلال الموقع. وهذه تقريبا بعض المنتجات اللي متاحة اليوم على الويب سايت، زي دليل المصانع للاستعلام عن أي مصانع سواء بالنشاط أو بالمدينة وكذا، أو استعلام عن أي منتج ومعرفة مين ينتجه في المملكة. واللي يحتاج أي معلومات عن الصناعة والتعدين ممكن يقدم خدمة طلب معلومات لتزييده. طبعا في BI سيستم إلى الآن ما هو متاح بابليكلي، يمكن متاح داخل القطاع، لكن قريبا إن شاء الله راح يتاح بحيث أنه يعطي انسايتس للمتعاملين مع قطاع الصناعة والتعدين. هذه نبذة سريعة عن المركز. لو رحنا لنظام الترميز أو فهرسة والترميز، الفهرسة والترميز الحقيقة نواته أو شرارته الأولى بدأت من وزارة المالية في عام 1978، كان بهدف أنه يطلعون دليل المشتريات الحكومية للآيتمز والكومن آيتمز. فدي ستارتد النواة، ثم بعد كده صار في اتفاق بين وزارة المالية ووزارة التجارة على انتقال الدليل أو الفهرسة والترميز إلى وزارة التجارة والصناعة، بحكم أن هي المسؤولة عن المصانع وتعرف مخرجات المصانع وتعرف كاتالوجينج والتكنيكال سبيكس للمصانع. فصار اتفاق بينهم على انتقال المهمة لوزارة التجارة والصناعة، ثم وزارة التجارة والصناعة أوكلتها إلى التجمعات الصناعية، بدأوا بعض الخطوات، ثم ريسنتلي في 2018 أسندت المهمة بحسب يعني مبادرات رؤية المملكة 2030 اللي قالت إنشاء مركز وطني للمعلومات الصناعية والتعدينية يخدم المتعاملين في الصناعة والتعدين، ويتولى موضوع الفهرسة والترميز للمنتجات سواء المصنعة من المصانع أو المستوردة بالتكنيكال سبيكس بالتفاصيل الفنية لها. ومن هنا انطلق المركز في تأسيس المكتب. ما هو الترميز؟ بشكل بسيط جدا انه هو عباره عن المواصفات الفنيه. طبعا احنا نفرق بين الكلاسيفيكيشن والكوديفيكيشن. الكلاسيفيكيشن هو عباره عن الكاتيجورايزيشن، زي امازون ولا علي بابا تروح تقول لك والله هوم ابلاينس، تحت الهوم ابلاينس مثلا تي في، تحت التي في، هذا كلاسيفيكيشن، انت تصنفه تحت كاتيجوريز معينه عشان توصل له. الكوديفيكيشن لا، هي التفاصيل الفنيه التكنيكال سبيكس للمنتج والتفصيليه، سماكته، عرضه، لونه، نوع المانيفاكتشرنج ميثود، التفاصيل الفنيه السبيكس، انك تربطها برقم عالمي، تقدر لغه على مستوى البلد وعلى مستوى العالم كذلك. وراح نشوف الان مثلا احد جهات الترميز اللي هو الناتو. فالهدف انه يكون في زي ما قلنا تدوين وربط المواصفات الفنيه والتفصيليه للمنتج من حيث المقاس والملائمه والوظيفه برمز عالمي يمكن التعرف عليه من قبل الموردين والمنتجين وكذلك المشترين. فهذا الهدف منه انه تحسين واداره المخزون، خفض التكاليف الشرائيه، وتحديد المنتجات المشتركه. نعرف الكومن ايتمز بين اكثر من مورد، اكثر من مصنع، وبين اكثر من جهه شراء، وسرعه استعراض البدائل. تعرف بدائل، مثلا لو عندك منتج معين مين يصنعه، اكس واي زد، اكثر من بديل، وبالتالي تقدر تحصل على موضوع الترميز. يعني هو على قولتهم سلاح ذو حدين، يعني لو خليته عام جدا حيكون مكلف عليك الشراء، ولو صار دقيق جدا جدا ايضا مكلف عليك الشراء، لانك حتروح لعدد اقل من السبلايرز، لكنه يكون في الوسط بشكل محدد يخدم عمليه الشراء وعمليه سلسله الامداد بالكامل. مكتب الفهرسه والترميز اسس ليكون هو نقطه الاتصال الوحيده على الاقل مع الانترناشونال ريبوستري ليدير نظام الترميز الوطني ويصدر رقم المخزون الوطني الناشونال ستوك نمبر، ويتبع المعايير التي يعني تطلقها وكالة الدعم والمشتريات في حلف الناتو، بحكم انه احنا في المملكة اعضاء في حلف الناتو لما يخص وكالة الدعم والمشتريات. نظام الترميز الناتو هو لغة عالمية موحدة للخدمات اللوجستية من خلال عمليات منضبطة لتعريف وتحديد هوية المنتج من جميع المواد اللوجستية، يعني من جميع مواد الإمداد اللوجستي بصورة فريدة. تقريبا اليوم في الريبوستري حق الناتو ما يقارب 18 مليون انسن، 18 مليون ايتم، وتقريبا 63 دولة تتشارك فيها الريبوستري، وما يقارب 2.8 مليون مصنعين وموردين يسمونهم الانكيج، ماخذين ارقام ويتعاملون ويسجلون انفسهم كمستخدمين او مصنعين او موردين لهذه المواد. فزي ما قلنا انه لغه توريد مشتركه في جميع العمليات اللوجستيه، ويعني اداه لاداره البيانات وجوده البيانات والتوافق مع انظمه. يعني ميزه التصنيف او نظام الناتو انه تقدر تتوائم مع الانظمه الاخرى زي الاتش كود وزي اليو ان اس بي سي المستخدم في ارامكو سابق، وزي جي اس 1 المستخدم في الريتيل وكذا، لانه في انظمه تصنيف اخرى. ميزه الناتو انه يو كان ماب بينه وبين انظمه ترميز اخرى، لو في مثلا احد الاطراف يتعامل بنظام ترميز مختلف فيمديك تسوي المابنج. مميزات نظام الترميز للمستخدم انه زي ما قلنا يوحد عمليات الشراء والتوريد، امكانيه تبادل المخزون مع اطراف اخرى. اذا صار في لغه مشتركه كامل ايتم اقدر اعرف مين اللي عنده نفس الايتم، فبالتالي اقدر اسوي معاه اجريجيشن هول سيل او اتبادل معاه المخزون. اقدر اعرف بدائلي المحليه والعالميه، اذا عندي منتج وفي سبيكس تبعه فاقدر اعرف مين يوفره محليا وعالميا على مستوى منطقه، على مستوى الناشونال، على مستوى عالميا كذلك. واقدر اعرف حجم العرض والطلب على اجريجيت داتا اراوند المنتج، لانه صار محدد وله رمز كومن لانجوج بين الجميع. واقدر اسوي خفض للتكلفه الخدمات اللوجستيه للمنتجات، وكذلك تكلفه الشراء. للمصانع فائدته انه اقدر يعني انعرف على المستوى المحلي وعلى المستوى العالمي، فبالتالي ازيد مستهدفات مبيعاتي محليا وخارجيا. اقدر استفيد من الجايد لاينز اللي تجي من الناشونال ريبوستي زي الناتو وغيرهم. كذلك انه يصير المنتج اللي يصنع محليا ياخذ رقم عالمي، فبالتالي ينعرف عالميا انه والله هالمنتج هذا يصنع في المملكه العربيه السعوديه، فبالتالي ممكن انه يعني تجيك ديماند اقليمي او عالمي. وايضا تاخذ اولويه في المشتريات العسكريه والحكوميه. الان المشتريات العسكريه انه اي احد ما عنده NSN ناشونال ستوك نمبر ما يقدر يبيع للجهات العسكريه، لانهم الان معتمدين الناتو في عقودهم، فبالتالي تحتاج على اساس انه يكون عندك اكسس لبعض المشتريات العسكريه والحكوميه اللي تطلب هالنوع من الترميز. وايضا انه يكون عندك فرصه اكثر تعرض منتجاتك في الناشونال كاتالوج على الاي ماركت بليس محليا وعالميا، وايضا يكون عندك اسم لمصنعك وانكيج نمبر تاخذه على مستوى عالميا. لو انتقلنا للشق الاخر يمكن اللي تكلمنا عنه قبل شوي هو الترميز وكيف يكون عندنا لغه مشتركه. الان خلينا نشوف شيء اخر. هل معنى هذا انه ما نقدر ناخذ معلومات عن المنتجات والخدمات الا لما نخلص الترميز؟ نقول لا، احنا بدينا نجمع معلومات وصفيه، معلومات احصائيه عن المنتجات والخدمات الى ان الموضوع الترميز يكتمل بشكل. فاحنا في المركز الحقيقه نجمع بيانات عن 3 بيلرز اساسيه. نجمع معلومات عن المنشآت الصناعيه والتعديليه من الولاده، من اول ما يطلع سجل تجاري النشاط فيه صناعي immediately وسبوت، وناخذ معلومات مع شهاده الميلاد اللي هي سجل التجاري. ثم يتقدم ياخذ سجل صناعي ويكابتشر داتا، يروح ياخذ ارض من مدن من الهيئه الملكيه ويكابتشر داتا، يشترك في الكهرباء في المياه ويكابتشر داتا، يروح ياخذ قرض من الصندوق الصناعي ويكابتشر داتا، عماله بنى خط الانتاج، بدا ينتج، اخذ من ساسو كود ويكابتشر داتا، بدا يصدر ويكابتشر داتا، بدا يورد ويكابتشر داتا لحد ما يوصل للاستهلاك. فوي بروفايل المنشاه الصناعيه من الولاده الى التصدير. هذا اول بيلر عشان ناخذ اكسبوجر على ملعب الصناعه والتعدين. اول بروفايلنج او كاتالوج هو للمنشاه الصناعيه. البيلر الثاني هو للبرودكتس. نفس الشيء حنشوف الان انه وي كابتشر داتا من ولاده المنتج. المنتج يولد باذن استيراد للمملكه او باذن تصنيع، ويمشي في نفس الشيء رحله الى الاستهلاك. سو وي كابتشر وي بروفايل المنتج بالكامل. البيلر الثالث هو المرفق الصناعي او اللوجستيك، سواء مدينه صناعيه، منطقه صناعيه، ارض صناعيه، مرافق صناعيه، مردم نفايات، محطه انتاج كهرباء، سكن عمال، مستودعات، وتفر. وبروفايل اللوجستيك اللي لها علاقه. بالتالي فيو بروفايل ال3 اشياء هذه، منشاه صناعيه، منتج، مرفق صناعي، صار عندك فول اكسبوجر على ملعب الصناعه والتعدين، فبالتالي تقدر تعطي انسايتس وفاليو للمتعاملين في هالملعب. فهذا البيكتشر 2 minutes. البيكتشر بشكل عام احنا اليوم راح نتكلم بس على اللي في النص، هذا المنتجات. نشوف هذا السجل الوطني للمنتجات كيف انه نجمع بيانات عنه وكيف نقدر نفيد فيها. مبادرة السجل الوطني متابعة مرة أخرى لدعم رحلة المستثمر الصناعي، كذلك انها حجر اساس للاسواق المنتجات، يعني بحيث انها تكون نطلع بناشونال برودكت كاتالوج كان بي يوزد باي اني اي ماركت بليس في البلد محليا وعالميا تو على قولتهم ببلسايز المنتجات السعوديه، وانه نقدر من خلاله نوائم التصنيفات والرموز المختلفه بين جهات العرض والطلب وندعم اتخاذ القرار. يوز كيسز كثيره ممكن يساعد فيها السجل الوطني للمنتجات. زي ما قلنا اذا صار عندنا هالديتا ريبوستري نقدر نجيب على اي سؤال مطلوب على الناشونال ليفل، مثلا التوقعات المستقبليه لمنتج معين، السبلاي والديماند، مدى توفر الرو ماتيريالز للمنتج، مدى قابليه المنتج للتوطين، هل المنتج هذا عليه دمبنج او عليه ممارسات غير عادله، التلاعب في الجوده او في السعر، وما هي شخصيه المنتج، ارتباط المنتج بمنتجات اخرى، فرص الاستثماريه للمنتج هذا لتوطينه، لانه حنعرف الجاب بين السبلاي والديماند، وتعقيدات المنتج. هل المنتج فيري كومبلكس ما كانت بي لوكالايزد، ولا انه اجزاء منه مثلا قابل للتوطين؟ لو اخذنا الاي سي مثلا يتكون من الكيسنج ومن الفريون والكمبرسور. الكيسنج عباره عن حديد وبلاستيك، الرو ماتيريال موجوده عندنا كان بي لوكالايزد. الفريون من الغاز موجود عندنا. الكمبرسور هو في الكترونيك وفي باتنز يمكن تكون اقل امكانيه للتوطين. فهكذا يعني you need to have a supply chain analysis and value chain analysis من الريبوستري هذا. اكزامبل يوز كيس انه لما يكون عندي المنتج معلوماته من اذن استيراد، عرفت المنتج ومواصفاته وسعره، ومنتج محلي من اذن تصنيع، عرفته معلوماته وسعره، فبالتالي اقدر اعرف انه مثلا نفس المنتج، شالوا الاخوان العلامه التجاريه، انه نفس المنتج قاعد يدخل للمملكه ب9 ريال ونص، بينما قاعد يباع في المملكه ب25 ريال، يمكن قاعد يجي باقل من التكلفه، فبالتالي sometimes دمبنج على المنتج المحلي يخرجه من المنافسه. فبالتالي كان فيجر اوت immediately، وتضبط البوليسيز بانه مثلا ترفع الكاستم، تعدل في بعض السياسات اللي تخليك تحمي المنتج المحلي، وبالتالي تعطيه فرصه اكثر في السوق. يوز كيس اخرى، منتج جاي مستورد من خارج المملكه بمواصفات معينه، وانت عندك المواصفات المعتمده من ساسو، بالتالي تقارن المواصفات للمنتج اللي داخل، وبالتالي يفجر اوت انه هذا المنتج غير مطابق للمواصفات، فبالتالي يسوي ايضا كذلك ثريت وكومبيتيشن على منتج محلي مطابق للشروط والمواصفات. رحله المنتج زي ما قلنا، المنتج يولد باذن تصنيع من المصنع، ثم بعد كذا يترمز، ثم يروح لللوجستيك نقل وتخزين، ثم بعد كذا المنتج المحلي اما يصدر يروح في الصادرات، او يروح للسوق للتجاره. لو تلاحظ هنا صناعه وبعدين نجي للتجاره، التجاره مبيعات جمله وتجزئه، ثم خدمات حوله للاستهلاك. فرسمنا رحله المستثمر وبدينا نربط مع الاونرز لكل محطه. نفس الشيء المنتج المستورد ياتي بالتوريد من خلال شركات النقل والشحن سواء برا او بحرا، ثم بعد كذا يروح للجمارك، ثم ياخذ ترميزه، خدمات لوجستيه، وهكذا في الرحله. فبالتالي we try to spot من كل جهه من اللاعبين والمختلفين المعلومات اللي لها علاقه والمستوى، يدمبت في one repository so we can answer الاسئله. مثلا اخر شريحه عندي بيانات العرض والطلب. مبدئيا يمكن اكتمل عندنا العرض السبلاي كله مكتمل، انه ناخذ الانتاج الفعلي للمصانع او الانتاج المرخص من منصه صناعي من وزاره الصناعه. ما في احد بيصنع اي شيء في المملكه الا ماخذ اذن تصنيع، فبالتالي المعلومات متوفره عندنا ومرمزه بالاتش كود. الانتاج الفعلي شهريا يؤخذ من المصانع من المسح الصناعي بالاتش كود ومتوفر. ايضا الواردات اللي جايه للمملكه يجي بالاتش كود من الجمارك ومتوفر. فتقريبا اكتمل عندنا بالكامل اي منتج في المملكه العربيه السعوديه مورد او مصنع موجود في الريبوستري بكمياته بتفاصيله، كله بكود واحد اللي هو الاتش كود. مشكلتنا في الديماند سايد احنا مركزين على ال 20% اللي يشكلون 80% من الديماند، اللي منهم الحكومه، الطلب الحكومي، الطلب العسكري، طلب المشتريات الحكوميه المملوكه للدوله، ستيت اوند ارامكو وسابق وغيرهم، وطلب المشاريع الضخمه زي اليوم وكذا، والطلب اللي جاي من الصادرات لتصدير المنتجات السعوديه. مشكلتنا في الديماند سايد انهم اكواد مختلفه، لغات مختلفه. ارامكو عندهم يو ان اس بي سي، سابق عندهم something else. الحكومه ريسنتلي كانوا تكست، الان ما شاء الله بالجهود اللي يقودونها الاخوان في المركز الوطني للموارد نظم الموارد المعلوماتيه وهيئه كفاءه الانفاق، الان اصبح في منصه اعتماد وبداوا يدخلوا، وكان اتفاق معاهم انهم حيستخدمون اليو ان اس بي سي. العسكر يستخدمون الناتو. فالان قاعدين نجمع هالديتا ونسوي مابينج للغه مشتركه. وصلتنا عينه من البيانات وقاعدين نتعامل معها بحيث انه يكتمل الديماند، وكذلك ساسو ترسل لنا المواصفات اللي على المنتجات. فيعني جراجولي قاعد الديتا تكتمل فيما يخص المنتجات ورحله المنتج اللي شفناها. الهدف من الكلام هذا كله انه تسيرف اي يوز كيس، اي استفسار، اي استعلام، اي احد يبغى يعرف حجم السوق، معلومات عن السوق اللي قابل للتوطين وغيره. فهذه الفكره انه يصير عندنا ناشونال لانجويج، ناشونال ريفرنس، ونطلع بحاجه اسمها سعودي ماستر، سبلاير ماستر، ونطلع بالماتيريال ماستر والسيرفيس ماستر، اللي اي احد في المملكه يقدر يسوي ريفرنس له. عباره عن ديكشنري تقدر تستخدمه في البروكيومنت سيستم عندك، تريفير له. ممكن تستمر في أكوادك الداخلية ولكن ترتبط مع الناشونال ريفرنسز so you can have common language مع المتعاملين في سلسلة الإمداد. ومعذرة أطلت عليكم، شكرا. سلام.
طيب, thank you, Mr. Ali. One of the things that attract my attention that data is valuable, data value, and data is money. Data giving you better decision. Data is giving you a confidence. Now we will move to the next item in the agenda is a presentation from Mr. Paul Alexander, who is teaching fellow at University Portsmouth, talking about achieving the procurement promise. Let us welcome Mr. Paul Alexander. All the best.
Thank you. Salam. I am Paul Alexander, and hey, thank you so much for inviting me to talk with you today. I am truly humbled to be here, and just a little on my background. So I spent just over 20 years in the airline industry, which after my 22nd year realized was a big mistake, so I moved to oil and gas. After 15 years in oil and gas, I thought something has to be better than this, so I went to teach at university. So I teach procurement at the University of Portsmouth today, where we are now building an MSc in procurement, which is very rare, and I think many of you would agree that more education in procurement is a wonderful thing and a wonderful opportunity. I should also say to you that I'm so happy to be here, and Saudi Arabia is not what I expected. I've never been here before. I've traveled all over the world, and somebody said to me only this morning that Saudi is running very fast to catch up. I can tell you what I've seen tells me that, hey, you have caught up. You are very, very fortunate to be here, and you are blessed to be working in and around procurement. So I'm going to be talking today. I could have talked about process or technology or all of those many things you handle. But there are people here who know far more than I do about these things. So I thought I would talk about you and the way you operate in delivering your promise to your organization. So I thought I'd start with probably my favorite author, a man called Charles Dickens, who some of you may be familiar with. He wrote a book about 130 years ago called A Tale of Two Cities, which is set during the French Revolution. And this is what he wrote. This is the opening of A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. In short, the period was so far like the present. Now, I think where you are in procurement, particularly here in Saudi Arabia, is very much the world described by Charles Dickens. Let me explain why. I think for a very long time in procurement, we've been locked into this paradigm of fast, good, or cheap. Fast, good, or cheap. That's the way we've understood our world. And I can tell you, wherever I go in the world, and I do travel a great deal, procurement people, we're all the same. It's really strange. You all have too much to do. You're too busy. You all spend a lot of time correcting error. We're all paranoid about our relationship with our businesses. We worry that our business doesn't really love us. We worry that our business won't invest in the right technology, won't give us the money we need. And we worry that our people aren't well trained or capable enough. And this is the same everywhere I go. Now, Another thing about procurement people that's really strange is nobody notices us until we get it wrong. Okay? And I've got a couple of examples here. The British government have spent about $5 billion on a new tank called the Ajax. It's a wonderful vehicle. I think they want about 500 of these tanks. The problem with this tank is it's so noisy that the soldiers can't operate it. So they've only taken delivery of 11 tanks, and every single crewman who served in one of these tanks has ended up in hospital because it's so loud. It's also a tank that doesn't have the capability to go over large bumps in the ground. So they had to stop the program and they're revisiting what's going on. Another example that I think you'll be familiar with is Samsung and their folding phones. Now, from what I've read of Samsung, they weren't too worried about cost, but they were desperate to get their product to market quickly. And the screens started to crack. Did their brand terrible, terrible harm and handed the business to Apple for a very long time. Now, I wish I could say I weren't part of these mistakes, but one of the great things about leaving industry and going into education is I can talk about my mistakes as well as my successes. And the very first aeroplane I was ever involved in buying was these things, the Jetstream 31, which is a great aircraft. But we bought it for the Australian airline I was working for at the time. And having purchased it, we realized that it didn't have the capacity to fly the distances we needed. So the only way we could make this thing work was to fuel it up to capacity and then charter other aeroplanes to fly along behind it with the passengers' baggage. Okay? And I think that all of these things have happened because we're locked into this strange world of fast, good, or cheap. My first challenge for you today is these 2 days are really precious. You are too busy, you've got too much to do, I know that. But now you have 2 days just to reflect and learn and understand perhaps how the world could be. Now, when I talk to my students, I talk a great deal about change. And I think we should acknowledge that change is very different. And I think a great way to understand how difficult change is to think about the way people used to catch monkeys. And the way they used to catch monkeys was that the hunter would drill a small hole in the shell of a coconut. And into that hole, the hunter would place a very, very small nut. The monkey would come along and put his hand into the hole and grab the nut. And he wouldn't let go of the nut, and therefore couldn't get his hand out of the shell. Then along would come the hunter and catch the monkey. Now, as procurement people in 2022, please do not be the monkey with your hand in the shell. Over the next 2 days, listen hard, be ready to change. Consider the new technologies. Consider what you're doing that could be different. Perhaps above all, understand the true needs of your business and learn to listen. Listen really hard, which is a subject I will return to. So I always tell my students, first thing to do if you work in procurement is think about your business environment. And I love history, okay? So particularly economic history. So I looked back a long time. Actually, I went back about 500,000 years, okay? In my view, you should think of yourself as wealth creators. You shouldn't really think of yourself as procurement people. That can box yourself in. You are creators of wealth and value. So what I did was look back over 500,000 years, and I sought to understand, well, what was global wealth? How wealthy were we in the human race? So I went all the way back, and what I found was things didn't change for 500,000 years. Not at all. Until you get to about 1800. So we're lucky, we're really lucky to live in the age we do. Life must have been really tough way back then. So what changed in 1800? 2 things changed. One was fossil fuels used on an industrial scale, on a global scale, starting with coal, then of course oil and gas. The second piece was technology. Not technology as we understand it, I'm talking about steam now, but that combination of steam technology and fossil fuels together allowed this dramatic increase in wealth. Now, why is today so important? Well, fossil fuels, without wishing to get into a long debate about sustainability, something has to change. Something has to change if we're to save the planet. But we do have technology. We have technology in a way we've never known before. And I think your job, perhaps more than anything else, is to utilize what technology can do for you. Now, I mentioned perhaps we needed to think a little differently. I believe procurement can be what Dickens called the spring of hope. You are placed to give your organizations the answers and the solutions they most need. For many of you, it is fair to say that 80% of your cost, emissions, and risk is in your supply chain. It's yours. If you're locked into the fast, good, and cheap thing, I don't think you'll give yourself space to think about the bigger picture. And I desperately want procurement people to think about the big picture. Allow yourself time to think. The other thing I want to say to you is that now I teach procurement, and when I reflect on what I did for 35 years in industry, a great deal of it I did wrong. The reason I say that is because today I have students who ask me really simple questions. And they say to me, for example, why did you keep measuring price when you knew you were buying the wrong things? And I guess I did because I had a dashboard very often that told me to measure price. And I managed teams that would all measure price, and because I felt an organizational pressure to again measure price, which actually was probably the least important thing I could have been trying to achieve. The thing I want to say to you is, instead of being focused on cost and price, ask yourself if it's time to think about buying the right thing from the right supplier. And maybe, if you buy the right thing from the right supplier, the right cost outcome will follow. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about people, because achieving your promise will depend on your people. I've been really impressed with what I see in Saudi Arabia, particularly with education. And companies like Penny, they're a huge credit. I would never have believed that a company like Penny would emerge from Saudi Arabia. You're not just running to catch up. A company like Penny demonstrates to me that you've caught up. You've got something really special in Penny. So if you do nothing else in the next 2 days, please take a look at Penny. This was a survey run by SIPS earlier this year, and it talks about what, in the United Kingdom, procurement leaders are looking for in their people. And it starts with communication, relationship management, negotiation, and influencing skills. All of them what we probably badly call soft skills. And I think that's really interesting, because on the one hand, this is what we want our people to be, which are very, very difficult talents to develop. And yet very often the tools we give our people, they're out of date, aren't they? Our people often don't have enough data. The tools are hard to manipulate. They're not properly tested. And very often, and this is something I'm ashamed of, very often we invest in tools that we, the leadership, don't know how to use ourselves. And then we wonder why they don't work. So I'd say to you, it's a small tip, but when you invest in technology, please make sure you know how to use the tools yourself. The other thing I want to say is that over the next couple of days, you will hear, I'm sure, a great deal about AI, artificial intelligence. And I'm a believer. I think AI can deliver wonderful things for us all in procurement and beyond. But in the near term, I want you to try using your human intelligence, okay? It seems very strange to me that we talk about artificial intelligence, but in my mind, human intelligence is pretty good, isn't it? You're very clever people. You have very clever people in your teams. So give them a chance. And one of the ways you give your people a chance is to give them the right tool set that liberates them to do the big job, not that little transactional job. So it's always really difficult to round off a presentation like this, and I've only had a few minutes to talk with you. But I thought I'd share with you a conversation I had with my friend Eddie. Now, Eddie is now 88, and I met him on the way home on a train from London. And I got talking to him. He's a lovely man. And he asked me what I did for a living. And I said, well, I'm a procurement CPO. And he asked me what it was, and I described what I do. And I said, how do you think I should do my job, Eddie? And he said, well, I don't know anything about procurement, Paul, but I'll tell you this, that if you're in a leadership role in business, 3 things I'd say. One is learn to listen. Okay, learn to listen. Certainly in the UK, we're brought up to develop good presentation skills. Hopefully you're seeing that today. But actually what I have learned, and when I talk to my students, I think listening is a lot more important. You really do need to be a great listener. So please listen over the next 2 days. This is a precious opportunity for you. The second thing Eddie said was not quite in these words. He said, information sets you free. You need the best data you can get. You need knowledge. And with knowledge and with good listening, you will find wisdom. And the last thing he said was choose tools that make life easy. Not just for you, not just for your team, but also for your suppliers and other people in your business. Don't just think within the boundaries of your organization. So that's really all I have to say to you this morning. Thank you for listening. Or I think I should say, Allah el Estima. Thank you.
Who is the VP Shared Service at Ma'adin, talking about opportunity and challenges in mining procurement. Let us welcome Mr. Abdullah Al-Asami.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to this conference. It's really an honor. And we need more of these gatherings for exchanging very rapid changes around us nowadays, especially with vision. We are really moving in a fast pace in an economy and leading the globe. And these conferences help us a lot in achieving these goals. I'm speaking today about a sector that is not very known in the public, which is the mining sector in Saudi Arabia. And as a start, that sector, that mining industry, started since the beginning of civilization for more than 6,000 years. It is all the minerals extracted from earth, used in every single equipment, material, even weapons, as you can see. Nowadays, it's very important. And it is essential part in every single technology advantage we have. Every cell phone you have, there are many minerals coming to make that cell phone. Minerals becoming literally the building blocks for technology and for civilizations. People fight for it. And this has been, in the last few years, very noticeable in the economy around us, in the globe. The growth of that business, if we look at the top 40 companies in the mining business, since 2005 till now, they increased in revenue 5 times. And this increase coming from the high demand, a huge demand in minerals and every kind of minerals, especially the rare ones. That demand is global, across all. And it is really now a big attention to any economical plan for any country. Saudi Arabia is one of them. It has been addressed as a potential in Saudi Arabia, the resources we have in minerals, this is very early estimates, is reaching $1.3 trillion. It's a big industry. It's an important industry. It's politically and commercially. That's why the government have given that industry one of its biggest attentions to enable it. We've been an oil country for a long time, for years and years. And there is also another treasure we have, which is the raw resources that we have, like minerals. The country have established 3 pillars to lead the industry. And one of them is Ma'aden, to champion the mining industry in Saudi Arabia. Since its establishment, it built its strategy around 5 main strategical areas: leveraging KSA resources, bringing the value to our stakeholders, all stakeholders, really driving for productivity. ESG is part of our DNA, and I will tell you why in a moment. And also being the leader, the champion in exploration within Saudi Arabia when it comes to minerals. For the last 10 years, Ma'aden have grown rapidly for more than 33% annually. That's higher than the industry. The industry average is around 4%. Can you imagine? We are the fastest growing company globally in this industry. And with that growth, we managed to reach more than 20 markets, selling all our products across the globe. In every single continent, there is a Ma'aden product there. That growth requires a lot of operation. And when you look at the operation within Saudi Arabia for Ma'aden, you see we have established in the last 10 years with a partnership with key agencies and government companies like SAR, for example, to establish one of the longest product railway locations in the world, coming from Wa'd al-Shamal to Eastern Province, Ras Al Khair. And there is a common theme if you look at the landscape of Ma'aden and the investment that we have done, more than 100 billion Saudi riyals in these in the last few years we have. There is a common theme. And this theme I want to share with you. If we look at the economy, or the biggest economical zones we have in Saudi Arabia, you look at the three economical zones: East, Central, and West. These are most of our business, most of our industry in Saudi Arabia is located there. Most of the talent, most of the resources, most of the money, most of the suppliers. But if we look at Ma'aden, in the other hand, it's operating everywhere, in remote areas, in very extreme conditions. And it is developing these areas and these economies from the ground up. Some of you have not seen a site for Ma'aden. Just brought some example. These are sites in Saudi Arabia, in the middle of the desert. This is our operation. This is where we bring this value. And with these sites, we managed to bring up the economy around us in these sites, in these remote areas, dramatically within a few years of establishing these sites. For example, I am sharing some examples here. طريف is وعد الشمال, where وعد الشمال plant is located. In Toref, we have managed to increase almost 1,000 new businesses being created just because of Ma'aden started there. More than 140% growth in the business. In a Zubaira mining location, we managed 200 businesses being established after Ma'aden established its mining plant there, with 144% increase. Another one is Ghazala. Ghazala, the same thing. Al Ghazala location, 205 new businesses being established, and another 140% increase, with a 12% annual increase continuously. And you can see wherever we build our plants in these remote areas, we develop an economy around it. And this is an area that a lot of other companies are not contributing similar to Ma'aden. And this is part of the nature of our industry. Our industry is not in the city. Our industry is out there in the mountains and locations where we have our resources. So what are the challenges we have in procurement and supply chain? And I see it in the other face of it is opportunity also. It's not challenges alone. The first one I would like to talk about was the supply chain. The supply chain and the logistic. These remote areas, as you know, working in Saudi Arabia, we are still a very young country compared to other advanced countries. Still, we have difficulties of reaching and making sure that the logistics, supply of the resources and raw materials are keen. So this is a major challenge we are facing in the mining industry, and especially in Ma'aden. And when I say a challenge, other people also, the suppliers or the investors, they see it an opportunity. And that's the point of this presentation. The other area of our opportunity focus is building manufacturing in Saudi Arabia. And I think it became now not anymore a luxurious drive or a goal. It's an essential, it's a must, it's a strategical move for the kingdom, and Ma'aden and the mining industry is not an exception for this. Actually, it is even more important for us. We have to deal with manufacturers and we have to bring them here in Saudi Arabia to ensure we have economical, strength, and we have the best and lowest cost possible and the best service we have. Without having the manufacturers here in Saudi Arabia, it will be difficult for the industry, of any industry that is built on commodities like ours, the prices we don't control. You control the spend, you control the cost. Without having the manufacturer next door, this will be extremely difficult. And we are putting serious steps toward making sure that the manufacturers we deal with are going to be located in the long run in Saudi Arabia. The third pillar or the third area opportunity is the human capital. The humans, and not only in the cities, but in the industry, in the remote areas, the development of people is the most important thing for us. From technical perspective, not from quantity perspective, but also from quality, skills, developing these skills. This conference is another example. This is a development place, an event that we all gain and encourage intellectual understanding and building our capabilities. We are focusing on these and the human capital in these remote areas. And we are building a lot of actions toward that. And the last challenging area for us, and it's an opportunity, is the technology around these remote areas. What I mean by technology, digitalization, for example. Now, most of the new companies in this business are moving toward robotics, are moving toward digitalizing, are moving toward machines that you can operate from remotely. And you cannot have that without having a connection to the internet, for example, or a Wi-Fi, or even a cell connectivity. And with that also you have the other challenge, which is the cybersecurity and making sure that these are safe. For overcoming these challenges, we came up with a new program for local content with Ma'aden. We call it Tharwa, and it is established on 5 key strategic objectives. And you can see it and you can link it to the challenges we have. 1, focusing on the people. Not quantity, but also quality. Bringing the skills. We don't want somebody saying Saudization, I am 70% Saudization, and he is only looking at a lower level. No, we are looking for engineers. We are looking for scientists, geologists. These are the Saudization we also very interested to have. Sorry. And the other one is building the local business within Saudi Arabia, focusing on SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. And I want to just highlight that Ma'aden, for example, 25% of our procurement is with SMEs. It's a very high number. And the reason for that is simple. Look at our operation. Our operation, by nature, requires us to work with SMEs. So this is why it is one of our major pillars. Remote regions, we mentioned the nature of our business, and this is another importance for us, and becoming a champion across all the mining industry within Saudi Arabia is essential part for our local content strategy. We have identified more than 2,000 categories with 82 opportunities right now in the local content for investors and partners to work with. And also in the downstreams, we also identified several investment opportunities. More than 36 opportunities are available currently with our program using the Ma'aden products. I encourage everybody, whoever interested to join our program for local content, to please visit our site or send us an email at localcontent@maaden.com.sa to help us to achieve our goals. And if you have any questions, please also visit our website for the supplier portal. That also can help you to register in general for any, or have any queries related to procurement or related to the investment within Ma'aden. Inshallah, our goal is really to come up with a successful industry, to be a third pillar within the kingdom. By 2040, our goal and our strategic goal is to become 8 times our current size. And with your support, with our effort, inshallah, we will achieve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. Now we will move to the next item in the agenda. Is a presentation from Mr. Carlos, who is the Senior VP and GM at SAP Procurement Solution, EMA South Region, talking about the network effect, evolve your business to operate in the networked economy. Let us welcome Mr. Carlos.
Hello, good morning. Great to see you. Thank you for having me. Let's see if we have the slides. But before I say anything, you know, I work for SAP, so I want to know how many in this room, if you can raise your hand, please, has experience or have using SAP systems today. Can you just raise your hand, please? Okay, that's great. I will be careful then. Okay, thank you. So let me start saying, if we can put the slides, please. Thank you. Let me start introducing myself. I've been 10 years with SAP in different regions in the US, Latin America. This is the third region. I'm the head of EMEA region. I've been in this beautiful country for now 4 years. I started from knowing no one and been introduced to many of you, so great to see you guys. And I also see the kingdom, you know, growing these 4 years. It's amazing. And I'm bringing now my US colleagues to see what's happening in this region, right? We see the cities you're building and the technology you're having, you're asking for. And look, I tell you, in my 10 years working for procurement, I never have, the only place I have one CPO saying to me, I want to try it all, show me all, is here in KSA. So it's been a great journey. You able to put the slides? Okay. Yes? Sorry, guys. Okay, let me start anyway. So the reason I started working in procurement and in Ariba is basically once I discovered the old Ariba digital network 10 years ago, I was fascinated by the fact that this digital network for companies like Amazon, right? Buyers and suppliers can buy online. And 10 years ago, I was fascinated. And at the time, it was a couple of billions of spent. And today, you know, fast forward 10 years later, it's a network, a digital network, because when we talk about business network, we really don't know what we're talking about if we don't talk about a digial network, right? And it's a digital network that now has 4 trillion of spend. It's bigger than Amazon, Alibaba, and others, and eBay, right? So this is the network for companies. And SAP has realized the power of this network, and this is what we're going to talk today about. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So I use a term, I borrow a term from BCG. It's called bionic supply chain. I love that term, and it helped me explain or align your priorities as procurement and supply chain experts with technology, right? With the role of technology that is not going to solve everything, but it's going to enhance your capability, right? So let me share with you the journey in KSA. In this slide, you can see we have now 68 customers, 14 billion of spend and growing. We have great customers. You see the names here. We're very proud to serve, you know, the new cities and the oil and gas companies, but in every industry, whether it's airlines, you know, retail, public sector. That's a really good one. And this speaks about the investments we did in this country, right? We came here, we put a data center for our solution. We invested in consultant, local resources that are here in KSA. We have an office just about 10 minutes here. And this is the commitment for the country, and I think we did the right bet. This is the country to be in, and we're very proud to serve you. If you can keep going, next slide, maybe I can get the clicker. This one, right? Okay, sorry guys. Okay, here's the BCG research, and I won't bother you with a long list of principles, but basically they say, they asked the question to 150 companies about how a modern procurement and supply chain should be run these days, right? And they came with 10 principles. I added one on myself. Let's start from the number one, right? A procurement function and suppliers at the heart of the business. And the research found that 30% of the companies have a CPO on the leadership team. And how important is that? And what are the results of having a CPO in the leadership team? And I think these last 2 years, it's been kind of I feel it myself as a revenge in the sense of it's not longer about technology for the customer to get the customer online and it looks have a cool website, right? But this is, especially this year, I think, is the year where supply chain and procurement became important. I think, really, honestly, I've been 10 years in the business. I think this is the first time in these 10 years that I see supply chain issues every day in the newspaper, every single day. And CEOs asking, like, how can you help me? I need to put my products in the hands of the customers. I don't have the materials to build the products. Help me, right? I mean, so I feel in a way that things has changed, and we should, as procurement professionals, we should take advantage of this time. It's the time to transform. If you don't transform now, if you don't move quickly, if your CEO doesn't understand that this is a priority now, it will never be, right? I mean, I think now it's the opposite. It's the CEO asking you to modernize, right? And in fact, SAP, for the first time, in their top 3 priorities, supply chain is one of them. One is supply chain, one is sustainability. So we want to create the top line, bottom line, and now we want to create the green line, right? And sustainability, that's the 3rd priority. And the first one is what we do, right? Digitalizing digitalizing enterprise processes end to end, okay? Number 2, treat suppliers as friends. And I promise I didn't write this down, but the survey, or the research came up with this idea that how important it is to collaborate with suppliers, especially now. Resources are, somehow the world discovered that resources are scarce, right? And that is, if you don't have your stocks, you can't deliver your products, right? So having, and here's where I match, and I say bionic supply chain, how you collaborate with suppliers. Do you have technology? Are you still talking on the phone with your suppliers? I mean, do you have reviews? Are they reviews digitalized? Do you use tools and technology to have this friendship? In addition to the trust that I know is very important, human trust, right? That will never be replaced by any technology. Empower your shoppers, right? So I always ask these questions to CPOs I met around the world. Is like, do you want a great team? Because point 1, I forgot to mention that you want to build a great team, right? Do you think anyone wants to work in a company that doesn't have any technology, like use Excels and phone and emails, and then run an RFP and then put it in the system of record? I mean, who wants to work in that company, right? We all, human beings, wants to work in a modern company, the coolest, we want to have systems, right? Technology that help us, that make it fun, right? Make it important, right? Enhance my ability to purchase. Yeah, you're a great purchaser. You've been 20 years doing the same thing, but maybe technology now can help you, right? Maybe data now can help your skills, right? Combine human creativity with that technology, and here's where it comes, conversation about robotics, AI, ML, right? That's how and we will talk, and then I will go into this specifically. Cut cost fast. I love when procurement, when I met with procurement, they told me, like, we were doing great, our team is really good. Yeah, but today, without technology, right, how are you running billions of spend without technology? Like, I don't know. Like, you can be the best buyer, but without analytics, without enhanced analytics, without a control tower, understanding what is missing in your stock, when the purchases are coming, at what time to value, how you connect, your customer to your suppliers, right? To your forecast, your capacity forecast. You need technology, right? So everything is connected, right? In the cut cost, right? It's not only being a great negotiator, right? Anymore. Innovating with supplier. I love this one. Today in this world, right? I mean, think about who is innovating with suppliers. Apple. They made, you've seen the new products, they made microprocessors with new suppliers, they design it themselves, they produce it with third parties that are exclusive, right? And that's a huge competitive advantage. They own 2/3 of the revenue in the iPhone industry because of this, and their market share is not that big because of the competitive advantage, because working with suppliers. And it's the same case for Tesla. Tesla, what's the main differentiator from all our other electric cars? Is that they design microprocessors for the autopilot with third parties, with a team inside, and that's a competitive advantage. And innovating with your suppliers, if there are many, right? I mean, it takes also a lot of things, but technology, I'm sure, is involved on that. Quality, of course, yeah, you want it cheap, you want it fast, but you want quality in whatever you're purchasing, because you know your customers will go after you, right? I mean, if there's no quality, that's your issue. Sustainability, all over, 90% of a company's sustainability footprint is in the supply chain. Hello, like whatever is that your company is doing on sustainability is a 10% of the impact, right? 90% is your supply chain. Now, how you're going to track your suppliers? Is it going to be an Excel survey, or is from email? Like that's how you're going to track 2,000, 10,000, 20,000 suppliers? No way. You need technology, right? You need to track your suppliers and the suppliers of the suppliers, and you have to follow the whole chain to understand what's your carbon footprint really, right? Get quicker, faster. The time to market. This is I love this story because I remember when the pandemic hit, everybody was talking about how I can get quickly to my customers remotely, right? And then also how do we work, right? Remote working was like supply chain was not the topic, right? And now I feel I'm sure about this. Like the customer, whatever they are ordering, is 100% connected with procurement and how you procure and your suppliers. It's connected. When someone orders something at your website, if it's a retail, but we can do the example, whatever, it's going to ask for your manufacturing to do something, and your manufacturing will have to forecast and get the product from your suppliers, and everything. And this is time to market. This is a CEO conversation. I took, we spoke with a lot of car manufacturing. For example, in my region, there's Italy, so there's a lot of car manufacturing experience there. They cannot get, the orders, right? You order a car, is 1 year, 6 months, 1 year to today, right? To get a new car. That's crazy. That's time to market, right? And the last one, which, sorry, you don't see, is risks, right? How you track the risk. When you are purchasing, at the moment your team is purchasing the thing that they run an RFP and it's cheaper and whatever, you like it, you want that thing, have you checked, have your system told you, is there a financial risk? Have your system told you they're ready, like sustainability is a disaster? Yeah, they're cheap, they're good, they're fast, but that's how you avoid risk. For that you need system. We'll keep going with, okay, very good. Now let me go to SAP. Sometimes, I think I love this slide because it paints the picture of the whole SAP landscape, right? The way we work is we like to call it, how we manage end-to-end processes. We call it the intelligent enterprise. Why? Because all processes need to be connected. For this to work, for data to work, right? For data to be valuable, for things to move fast, for being efficient, processes need to be connected to each other, right? Therefore, we have, a suite application. One of them is Ariba, right? That will work on this source-to-pay process. And then we have experience on every industry, because oil and gas is not the same as retail. And then we have, this is new, and this is a fantastic thing that we didn't have years ago. It's a cloud platform, right? This cloud platform will allow you to develop anything that you need for your company, because we always laugh at SAP that every customer wants their own processes and have their own needs, and they don't want us to come with our own fixed processes. So this gives you a flexibility that you didn't have 3-4 years ago. You didn't have this. Now you get, let's say you get Ariba, right? You have your procurement processes, and there's things that you want to do that are not on Ariba. You don't need to wait for global P&I to develop something. You just develop it in the cloud platform, right? So that's one, I wanted to share that. And then the business work on the top, right? You see connecting all the processes, okay? I don't know why this is not moving. Okay, very good. And this is, I love this picture. It's a Metro SAP, or end-to-end processes, business Metro, right? This shows you what's really take to be an intelligent enterprise. How easy, do you imagine this is easy to achieve? Do you think, how many companies you think that are able to achieve this and have all the system, integrated, and things are moving fast because of that, right? And that's I think, the way we think about intelligent enterprises. Okay. Let's go back to procurement. I love this slide because it shows the journey. So in this room, there are people that I've seen a couple of companies here that are world-class, procurement world-class. They have control towers. It's a big screen. They have people operating the control tower. They know they order a PO. They can track when the ship is going out from China, when it's going to arrive, what is an emergency. They know everything. Couple of people in this country, right? Now, here's the journey, right? From manual to digital. If you're here, I know there are many companies in KSA that are here. You are losing so much money. I mean, this is. I tell you honestly, very honestly, that manual to digital, this is a big jump. Don't ask my team for an ROI. This is like no-brainer, right? I mean, if you're a manual, like what I can tell you is like, go ahead, right? Start now, right? You're late. You are 5 years late or 10 years late. Yeah. So that's the first journey. Manual to digital, no doubt. We'll do a business case for you, but this is great. The next stage is once you have digitalized, right? Then you can start thinking like, hey, Carlos, there's this process that you have in Ariba or whatever system you're using, right? That we wish is automatically, right? We wish we have this RPA. I don't want my team doing repetitive tasks. That's where you want to get here. You will be surprised. There's not that many companies that are here. This is now standard. And then the next stage is what I was talking about. You want to make sure yes, you are digital. You're digital. Yes, you have automation, but now you want a system that is intelligent. And it's not that easy. Let's be honest, right? It's not that things are super easy here, right? But we now have systems, stable systems that can tell you, as the example I gave you, they can tell you, guys, yeah, you're buying cheap, you're buying fast, but financial risk is really bad, right? Connected to Dun & Bradstreet or the local credit or whatever. I mean, content is open, right? We can put any content there. Or you can track sustainability or other things. Or it can give you the preferred suppliers. Look, we always use this supplier because it's the best. Your 20 entities around the world can use, the system can recommend you, right? That's intelligent, and that's available. It's now no magic, right? Another example of intelligent procurement, I think, and we build it for a customer in KSA, and we're using for the other global customers, is he brought the problem. Here's my problem. I get calls every day, my team gets called every day of users that want things, and they know when they will get the things that, the goods that they need. And so we develop on Teams a chatbot for this customer that is connected with Ariba, right? And any users can go and check where's their PR, right? And the system automatically will tell them where in the process is. We just built it for, it was not in Ariba, right? We just built it on Teams for. And then this is the most exciting, is, I think it's a little bit we have achieved now, but more in the future, right? What can be automated. If you think about your procure to pay, there are companies that are, like 90% is processes, invoices are processes automatically, 90%. There are customers that more, right? But so when we get to this space, I think for the future, this is also exciting, right? What tasks can be automated and things that. Let me give you another example of automation, for example, or things that can be automated. What if you have a maintenance problem in one of your maintenance problem in one of your systems, right? Your assets. I was looking for that word, assets. And the machine can order the replacement and ask the crew to go and come and serve, maintain the machine, right? The machine will just trigger the order for the part and for the crew to come and repair. This is not the future. This is available. This is not the future. You see, the other example, I saw the mining presentation, and we have a lot of mining companies in our as customers. Another example is a worker in a mine, right? I mean, the machines are very expensive, right? Very, very expensive machinery. And 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day of a machine stop because you don't have the part, it's a fortune, right? So we developed something for a customer where you take a picture of the part that you need to be replaced, it goes against the catalog for Ariba, and the part gets ordered. So there it's not perfect, we're not there, it's not the Tesla autopilot by any means, but there are a lot of things we can do if working together, right? I mean, I think that's part of the, thank you. Here, hopefully I'm doing well on time, but here I sometimes, I love this slide. we call it the honeycomb. But I love it because many customers of ours believes that we're like a box. Look, this is the box with a process. And it's the same having this Ariba or that, other competitor or whatever, right? It's just a process. Like, I will buy it cheap, right? It's a process, and it's the same this or that, right? But look, SAP and others as well, but SAP also has these embedded technologies that are part of our platform, right? Everything that is in the cloud platform, whether it's procurement, supply chain, or other processes, are going to have all these technologies embedded. And I have here, if you want to know, some examples, right? Okay, what are, Internet of Things examples, automation examples, machine learning examples. This is a new area, Qualtrics for suppliers. So you have all this data, right, that is coming. Let's say you are at the top level, right, world class. Have all this data coming from the ERP, from your procurement system, from your control tower. Do you know how your suppliers feel? This is experience. We call it, it's a new category called experience management. Do we know if they are super unhappy because they get paid so late? And because when I came here, one of the big customer, told me it takes 6 months to onboard a supplier. What? 6 months to onboard a supplier? It's crazy, right? I mean, you don't want that. You don't want that. This is terrible for the business. It's terrible for your brand. This is a disaster, right? I mean, you want things to happen in hours. One of the customers here told me, Carlos, my CEO told me, I want things to happen in minutes, in hours. Don't come with a report in days or weeks or months. I want the report in minutes. So you want to make sure that you are communicated, right? Blockchain, yeah, to track the source of, I think we're at the beginning of this, but track the source of things. For some industries is important, right? Conversational AI, right? Here you come into a space also that I have been experienced with customers here where, think about this. I love this idea. It's a very simple idea. What if, 2 minutes, okay. What if the employees of your companies, all the employees, 20,000, 100,000, they can just buy the things by themselves, self-service procurement, right? And then your team can do only strategic. Of course, the self-service procurement is going to be the tail spend, right? It's going to be within a framework, right? Within a policy, right? That you design and approvals and things. But what if all the employees, we are 100,000 employees, we all buy our things, everything, right? And if I have to do an event, I use the Ariba guided buying, right? And one of the customers here says that I want my employees and my CEO and everybody in the company to use the phone and order with the voice, right? Say, I need a computer, I need a phone, I need whatever, right? And use guided buying to procure, like in Amazon, right? Like you do with Amazon. We have that, right? Anyway, just for the sake of time, let me go into, and just this one is very important. Don't tell me you're running supply chain and procurement and you are really good, but you have no visibility, no data. You don't know what you're spent. You don't know what you're spent by day. You don't have a list of suppliers. You don't have a control tower. You're not running your procurement well. You're losing a lot of money. Like, forget about how much it costs, SAP or whatever, right? You're losing billions, right? Anyway, next slide. Yep. Okay, here's the business network. I told you 4 trillion of commerce. Millions of companies online. The beauty of this is you access the network and you connect to every single supplier in the network around the world, 190 countries. What's the beauty of that? Usually when we go, you say, okay, tell me how many of my suppliers are on your network, right? We run a report and usually 30 to 50% of your suppliers are already. You don't need to do anything. Think about change management. Think about getting in the network and, poop, you have, 30, 50% of your suppliers on, and you can discover, you can track, you can search any of the suppliers that are in the network, whether they are used by your competitors or whatever, right? It's great. And then, okay, I will skip this one. Here's what is in the business network. It's a full view of what is in the business network. So you see, it's a lot more than Ariba. Here you have your indirect procurement collaboration. Here you have your direct materials collaboration, right? Here you have logistics. We didn't have this 2 years ago, 1 year ago. We have logistics, yeah? And the beauty is we're open. So for example, logistics, we have a system, yeah, beautiful, the network. But we are partnering with every startup in the world. Project 44, have you heard? Project 44, super cool, right? Have all the data, all the content on the shippers, the ports. We are an open platform. Any startup we can connect via APIs. Asset collaboration, this is amazing. Like, think about the cities we're building in this country, right? Think about the assets. You need conditioning, you need elevators, you need, for every city, Kidia, Lula, right? Neom, you need everything. Roads, bridges, everything. You can track with this system asset maintenance, 2 million devices, 20 million devices, you can track, is the system working? Does it need repair? Every 2 years we need to change this or that thing. This is very powerful, very powerful. Finance collaboration, talking about being close to your suppliers and being friends with your supplier, doing supply chain financing. We have more than 40 banks that can provide finance. If you have money, you can provide the finance yourself and get a discount for paying in advance. But also you can use the 40 banks that we have to fund it. We have also banks here in the Middle East that are part of the network. And then the talent or FIGLAS, right? FIGLAS, I want to end with FIGLAS. Think about, yes, I'm ending. Think about services procurement. Everything in services that happen from the time you sign the contract to the time you, sign the contract and award to the time you pay the invoices. Everything that happens in the middle, I love to call it, because people open their eyes, it's like the black box. It's a black box. Your CEO will die, right? I mean, it will say you are paying 2 billion of services, and you have no clue when the service entry sheet is approved, and who is coming to do it, and what's the qualification, and have they finished online, have the penalties been applied. Your CEO will die from a heart attack, right? You have no clue. It's a black box. And with this, I would love to end. I'll invite you here. I want to show you some visuals of, you have everything in one entry point, But anyway, I want to invite you to try it all. I think the concept of try it all is not buy it all, right? Try it all. We're here to help. We're here to play with you. What do you need? How can we help? We have so much expertise that can bring here, and we'll be happy. It's our job, right? Be happy to share with you what others are doing in your industry. How can you improve this? Talk to us. I think the one thing I learned in 10 years is communication. When customers saying, hey, tell me, show me, let's talk. We do now, sometimes we spend half a day or a day together. Tell me your problems. We listen, right? I mean, what are your gaps? What are your problems? What is the pain? Oh, the CEO calls me that, I haven't approved this or that, or, that's the way to work. But thank you so much for listening, and let's go for a coffee. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Carlos. Thank you, Mr. Carlos. Carlos, what is the second name?
Mercuriali.
Okay. That's why I was good. Mercuriali. Okay. Before going with the first break, we would like just to go with the recognition of the first 5 speakers. So let's welcome the President of Organizing Committee, Mr. Abdurrahman Abdalan first. Right, the first speaker, Mr. Sagar Salim.
Let us welcome Mr. Sagar Salim. Let us welcome Mr. Ali Al-Sumع. Let us welcome Mr. Paul Alexander. Let us welcome Mr. Abdullah Al-Asami. And finally, let us welcome Mr. Carlos. Now we will have a 10-minute networking break. Thank you all and see you back at 10:15. So we will come back at 10:15.